90 days. That's the average lifespan of a trading account before it hits zero. Not 90 months, not 90 trades, 90 days. One academic study tracked over 1,600 traders for more than a year and found that only 3% of them ever turned a profit. Another tracked 306,000 traders over 40 years and found that by year 5, fewer than 7% were even still trading, let alone winning. I watched this happen to people in my own comment section. They show up excited, post a green screenshot in week 1, and 3 months later, they're gone, never to be heard from again. Today, I'm breaking down the exact 4 mistakes that blow up almost every new trading account, not strategy mistakes, not chart reading mistakes, money management mistakes. Because here's the part nobody tells you. You can have a winning strategy and still go broke if you manage your money wrong. Stick around to the end because the fourth one is the one that's killed more accounts than the other 3 combined.
Hi everyone, if you're new here, welcome to this channel. Here's what we're covering today: the real statistics on why traders fail, and then the 4 specific money management mistakes that cause it. Over leveraging, no stop loss discipline, revenge trading, and the one most people don't even realize is a mistake until it's too late. Then I'll show you the actual framework I use to avoid all 4. Let's get into it. Let's start with the data because I want you to actually sit with this for a second. Depending on which study you look at, somewhere between 70 and 97% of day traders lose money within their first year. One widely cited study followed 1,600 Brazilian day traders for over a year. Only 3% turned a profit, and just over 1% earned more than minimum wage doing it. Here's another one that really stuck with me. A 40-year study tracking over 360,000 individual traders found that only 1% of them were able to consistently beat the market. Only 13% were even still trading after 3 years. By year 5, fewer than 7% remained active at all. And here's a statistic about behavior, not just outcomes. Studies have found that losing traders place roughly 4 times more trades than winning traders. And frequent traders making over 500 trades a year have a loss rate as high as 80%. So before we even get into the mistake, understand this. The market doesn't fail you. Statistically, the way most people approach money management is what fails them. Mistake number 1, over leveraging. This is the single fastest way to turn a string of small survivable losses into one account ending event. Here's how it actually plays out. A new trader opens an account with, let's say, $2,000. They take a position size so that a single bad trade can lose them 20, 30, sometimes 50% of the account. They get away with it a few times. Maybe the trade goes their way, maybe the loss is small, confidence builds. Position sizes creep up, and then one trade, one news event, and only one gap down, one unexpected move wipes out months of gains in minutes. The professional standard here is something called the 1% rule. Never risk more than 1% of your total account on a single trade. On a $2,000 account, that's $20 of risk per trade, not $20 of position size. actual risk, meaning the distance between your entry and your stop loss. I know that sounds incredibly conservative when you're starting at a chart that looks like it's about to explode higher. But here's the math that matters. If you're risking 1% per trade, you can be wrong 10 times in a row and still have 90% of your account left to recover with. If you're risking 20% per trade, 5 losses in a row, and you're functionally done. Mistake number 2, and this one is closely related, not using a stop loss, or worse, moving it once the trade goes against you. Here's the psychological trap. You enter a trade, it starts moving against you. Your brain doesn't want to accept a loss. So instead of exiting at your predetermined stop, you tell yourself it'll come back. And you move the stop further away. Sometimes it does come back. And that's actually the worst possible outcome because it teaches you incorrectly that moving your stop was the right call. The one time it doesn't come back, that's the trade that takes out weeks of gain in a single position. A stop loss only works as risk management if it's set before you enter the trade, based on where your original idea is proven wrong, not based on how much money you're willing to lose. Those are two completely different numbers, and confusing them is one of the most common ways traders quietly turn a small loss into a large one. Mistake number 3, revenge trading. This is purely psychological and it's brutal because it usually shows up right after mistakes number 1 and 2 have already done damage. Here's the pattern. You take a loss, maybe even a properly sized, well-managed loss. And instead of moving on, you feel this urgent need to make it back immediately. So you take another trade, not because the setup is good, but because you want to feel okay again. That trade is now driven by emotion, not analysis. So the odds of it working are worse than your normal trades, not better. If it losses too, the urge to revenge trade again gets even stronger. This is exactly how a single bad trade, one that should have cost you 1% of your account, spirals into a losing streak that costs you 30 or 40% in a single session. I've done this myself early on, and I can tell you from experience, the trade you take to make back a loss is almost never the trade you would have taken with a clear head. The fix here isn't complicated, but it is hard. Build a rule that after 2 losses in a row or after hitting a daily loss limit, let's say 3% of your account, you're done trading for the day. No exceptions. Walk away from the screen. And now, mistake number 4, the one I promised you at the start, and the one I think causes more silent account failures than the other 3 combined. Starting with too little capital and trading it like you need it to perform like a large account. Here's the trap. Someone starts with $500 or $1,000. To make trading worth it, to generate income that actually feels meaningful, they have to take outsized risk per trade because 1% of $500 is only $5. That's not a money management failure in the traditional sense. It's a structural one. The account is simply too small for proper risk management to produce a result that feels significant. So The trader abandons proper risk management instead. This is the quiet killer because it doesn't look like recklessness from the outside. It looks like someone just trying to grow a small account, but it forces every single one of the first three mistakes: bigger position sizes, wider stops because tight ones get hit too often on a small account, and revenge trading because every loss represents a painful chunk of total capital. The honest fix here is one most people don't want to hear. Treat your first $1,000 to $5,000 as education capital. Your goal in this phase isn't to get rich. It is prove to yourself with real but small money that your process works. Scale the account size up only after you've proven the process works, not before.
So, here's how I personally structure all of this to avoid blowing up an account. 1. I risk a fixed small percentage per trade, calculated before I ever enter based on my stop loss distance, not my feelings about the trade. 2. My stop loss is set the moment I enter, and I do not move it further away once I'm in the trade. I will exit early if I want to, but I will never widen risk after the fact. 3. I have a hard daily loss limit. If I hit it, I'm done trading for the day. Full stop, regardless of how confident I feel about the next setup. And 4, I evaluate my account size honestly. If proper risk management on my current capital doesn't produce meaningful position sizes, that tells me I need more capital or more time, not more risk per trade. None of this is exciting. None of this is the part of trading content that gets clicks, but it's the actual difference between being part of that 70 to 97% that fails or the small percentage that's still trading and profitable 5 years from now.
If this video saved you from one bad trade, that's genuinely the whole point of this channel. Subscribe. Next week, I'm breaking down my actual trade journal, mistakes included. So you can see this framework applied in real time. And drop a comment. Which of these 4 mistakes hit closest to home for you? I read every one of them.